it going? Welcome to Ordinary Footballers. My name is Knight, and I'm here with Flash, my ordinary football and crime, and we're going to go straight into the podcast. We want to thank you for joining us for our pilot episode. We're going to talk about the current Premier League status and some really wonderful topics. Can't wait to get into it. Flash, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be here. We got three sweet topics today. We're going to be talking about our player awards, which I'll explain in just a second. We're going to be then looking at the overall table for week 20 of the Premier League. And then we're going to be doing a tier list talking about the summer transfers in January, 6 months on, seeing how they did, and then rating them according to how much value was gotten. I'm an outspoken Arsenal fan. My co-host here is an outspoken Chelsea fan, so sometimes our opinions are going to collide. But overall, we hope we can come to a parity most of all. But without further ado, we'll be getting into our first category. So every week, we're going to start it off with our football awards. And essentially, think of this as an award ceremony or such. We'll be giving out an award for a player of the week, an underdog of the week, our underrated player choice of the week, a bozo of the week, and a team performance of the week. So I'll start it off with Knight. Go ahead and give me your take on your player of the week.
All right, so I am a Chelsea fan. I need to state that again. However, for my player of the week, I'm going to go with Sadio Mane. So here's the thing, right? I can't stand Liverpool. I hate them. Probably the team I despise the most out of the Manchester area. Yeah, I said it. Liverpool's in Manchester. However, Sadio Mane balled out this week, man. They went 482 minutes without a goal, which is abnormal for somebody to say, yeah, they're the defending title champions. Sadio Mane came out, got 2 assists and a goal. I loved his goal. I honestly thought it was probably like the second most difficult goal. I think you're going to talk about the first later on with Harrison, but he had the second most difficult goal of the week, right? He caught it, or not even caught it. He just one-timed it as it's coming off the ground. He had a poor angle. Great goal. And then honestly, he should have had 3 assists. So one was called off because Salah was offside, but honestly, he was onside in my eyes. I think let them play. But that's my player of the week.
I agree with that. I think that's relatively obvious, but every time he attacked, he looks super dangerous for Liverpool. Going on to my side, I might be picking someone a little bit more obscure, but we're going to be heading from Liverpool down to London, and my player choice of the week is going to be the Czech international Thomas Souček, who recently arrived this year to West Ham from the Czech League. Okay. So for this week, the reason I'm saying he did so well, he led his team. He had 2 goals scored against Crystal Palace in West Ham's 3-2 win away at Crystal Palace. This put West Ham into the 5th place spot for the Premier League, effectively making them the best London team so far, 20 weeks in. He had a 6-minute goal after conceding in the 4th minute. So not only did he level the game 2 minutes into conceding, but also he scored then 13 minutes later with an amazing goal. Like, this was a Messi level goal if you saw it. There's essentially a set piece that he took, settled it off of his thigh, and then converted it from a super tight angle. Amplifying this, he had a season high of 4 tackles and 1 interception, 7 goals on the season for a defensive midfielder. Crazy. Who is not the highest chance producer. So the dude works for it. So for me, that's my player of the week.
Okay.
Next, this might overlap a little bit, but we're going to be going into the underdog award. So this is essentially going to be a player that you thought doesn't get enough recognition. It's not going to be your Sadio Mane, your Mo Salah, but this is someone who's been doing super well, and maybe people don't realize that. So take it away, Knight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with James Rodriguez, boy out of Colombia, 2014 World Cup star. So I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, what? The guy came from Madrid. He's supposed to ball out. Not really, right? He plays for Everton, a team that always at the beginning of the season, they're like, yeah, they're top 6, right? Well, not really, right? And what we saw this week was that they really had a good game, and unfortunately, Pickford just threw it all away. But we'll get into that when we talk about the table. I think his goal was amazing, right? And it looks just so easy for him, like it was nothing. And he just walks off. He's just like, yeah,
Dude, This man is a true veteran. We'll talk about that in our transfers as well. But I mean that
Yeah,
guy's an utter professional, and the onus on that game was for Leicester to win. So good on Everton for getting a point.
agreed, agreed. So that's my underrated player of the week, James Rodriguez. I know he's a big time player in the rest of the world, but I think that the Premier League since coming, he hasn't had a lot of attention, and I think he balled out. What do you got?
My underdog award, and I'm gonna contest this one with you. My underdog award goes to the English Jack Harrison. He plays for Leeds, typically lining up as a left wing, but before he's also lined up as a striker. I think this guy is super slept on. So if we look at Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds attack, they're super dynamic, a super fun team to watch. And Patrick Bamford has usually gotten a lot of the plaudits duly because he has 10 goals on the year. But let me tell you about his compatriot, Jack Harrison, 24 years old, on a loan from Man City.
Mm,
He has 8 goal contributions, which is the second highest for Leeds. He has 4 goals, which is the second highest. But here's the key stat for me. He has 58 shot creating actions. And that's specifically important because he's a winger. So a
crazy.
shot creating action is going to be a dribble or a pass that sets up a shot. He has 58 of those. That puts him at 11th in the entire league. Some notable wingers that he has created more shots than include Salah, Sterling, Human-Son, Rashford, and Zaha. To top this all off, the US dollar value that transfer market lists him at is 9.9 million. I think this guy is a player to watch not only now but for the future, considering he's a loanee from Man City, and he's probably going to need to fight for time once he goes back to City. So he could be a pretty value buy for a club out there. Also, I'd recommend, if no one has seen his goal yet, he had the game winner against Newcastle. He finds a great little spot on the left-hand side of the penalty box, takes a cross down, and then hits it with the outside of his foot to curl it into the net. And just it was Latin-esque, honestly, for me. It was a great goal. Moving on
Like
from the
that.
accolades, maybe to some less prestigious awards. Go ahead and hit me with your bozo of the week, Knight.
Bro, Bozo of the week is easy for me. Tottenham's Rodon. So like this is a young guy, young center back, you know what I'm saying? He's getting a chance by Jose Mourinho. And oh man, I mean, Sadio's goal was amazing, but it's all because of the mistake by Rodon. He's running, he has no idea that Sadio's that close to him. You can just tell because he turns, he's like, oh shit. Right. And like, and when he the ball comes off of his we'll call it torso area, like he did nothing. He doesn't go down or anything. He's just like, oh, yep, it came off my torso. Like he had eyes on the ball. I get it. Your body's contorted a different way as you're running forward. It's always awkward, but honestly, me, I'm at least jumping into the ball. I feel like, of course, you know, Monday morning quarterback over here. But that was just a bozo move, especially in a game where it's 2-1. Tottenham's still in it. It's probably their biggest game of the season. They're trying to see if they're a real title contender. Are they going to get the 3 points, at least get a draw? Nope. As soon as it goes 3-1 off that goal, you knew it was over. Everybody knew it. So that's my bozo of the week.
That's a strong case, man. We're gonna go from London this time up to Manchester for my bozo of the week, and that's gonna be Anthony Ice Cold Martial. They call this man ice cold, but I think he's more of the invisible man. He
Okay.
just shuffles around like a ghost who emerges just to give the ball away or miss a shot at a critical opportunity. Not only did Man U dominate Sheffield, but continue to lose, but out of the 17 shots they had, he had 1.
Oof.
On the season, this man's played 16 games. He has 5 goal contributions. 2 of them came against the last game against Sheffield. And this week he completely blanked. He has 4 goals. He has 0 goals in 4 games. This was a player who had 23 of those last year. But not only are the stats revealing, but you just watch this guy. He seems to fail to find space. He's been shuffled in between positions. And it's going to be really difficult for him because Ole has a lot of options coming off the bench. I think even though Greenwood missed some chances that game, he got into good positions.
Uh-huh.
Rashford figured out some good positions, but right now things have not been going for Anthony Ice Cold Martial. And I don't, even though we dig into this guy, I do want to say, commentating on some of the stuff we've seen over the news recently, I do want to condemn some of the abuse he's been getting online. It's been absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he's been playing super poorly, like I said, he's the fan of the opera, but he comes back to haunt Manchester United. He still doesn't deserve the abuse he's getting online. No one deserves that. But I want to see this player pick it up because I saw him. I picked him for my fantasy team in my other league, and he's been disappointing me. So Bozo this week goes to Phantom of the Opera, Anthony Icefield Martial.
Phantom of the Opera.
And I hope he
Love
picks
it.
it up. I hope for his sake he picks it up. But
Okay.
yeah, team performance. Sorry.
Yeah. So, man, shout out to Martial. We'll talk about that for the table. What he means. Goodness, that's just such a letdown. Team
Yeah.
performance, man. Liverpool. Okay. All right. Yes, I promise. I'm a Chelsea fan. You see it in the background here. And if you're listening to the podcast, I promise you, I am wearing Chelsea gear. I've done my part for what I can. Living in London, or excuse me, living in England. It is Liverpool, man. They again, we talked about the fact that they haven't scored, that they look trash over the last 5 games. Look at them. That was a big comeback win. Again, I think that just speaks to really what that squad has in terms of depth. With all the things that they have going on, we know that they're struggling this year with COVID, injuries. Big win against Tottenham. That's my team performance of the week, man. They really balled out. What do you got?
So I'm actually gonna go with my club this week, and I know I sent it in the group chat, and you were like, Arsenal, really?"
Ooh.
But I'm saying Arsenal for their 3-1 away win, a comeback win against Southampton. This is Arsenal's first comeback win of the season after 20 games. And me as an Arsenal fan, I know this pain, right? I get hyped up, I get some food before the game, I put my jersey on, I get my scarf, I'm ready to go, and I see my team away go down within 10 minutes, and I see the lights go off, and everyone just dims out and essentially gives up on the game. And this is something we've seen for the past 2 to 3 years. But we went down after 4 minutes after an amazing set piece. Credit to when it's due to James Ward-Prowse for engineering that. But 5 minutes later, Pepe comes back. This player that just decided to headbutt someone not 5-6 games ago. He comes back and gets a great position, gets a goal. Leno had a great goalkeeper performance. The team's historically poor away. So I thought it was overall very good. Also, they're missing their captain. Shout out to Aubameyang. Hopefully his family's doing pretty well. Some time to stay with them. But I think the boys in red, the proper team in London, the correct team in London, came up with a good win against the Southampton team that's been off and on, but proven to cause some upsets.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we played y'all in a Europa League final recently. Anyway, proper team.
Oh no.
Proper team.
And I want to say as well, for you guys listening, obviously this is our first episode, but if you agree with some of our opinions, if you disagree with some of these, you can check out the Ordinary Footballer social media, Facebook and Instagram specifically, and you can vote on the polls that are up. So tell us which one of us is right, tell us which one of us is wrong, and we'll review some of these in the future to see if some of these are truly hot takes or if these are stinkier takes.
Yeah.
But transitioning away from our awards ceremony, we're going to be going on to table talk. So give me your first initial reactions, Knight.
West Ham?
Yo, Ham? I'm telling you, dude, Souček, he balled out.
And West Ham?
Dude.
It's crazy, bro. They are 20 positions ahead of where I thought they would be this year. And they're
nice.
Do you know what that means? It means they're supposed to be relegated. Even last year, do you remember Mr. Bubbles' team over there, down there in London? They were supposed to be relegated, all right? And they are balling out. I am really surprised. However, I do want to call out, yes, good for you. Okay, good for you, West Ham, the fake London team. You know what? You can have that part of London because it's not that great. Anyway, and you know them, right? So I look at them and I think to myself, okay, they're fifth, potentially getting the Champions League spot. We'll see how these cups turn out. Man City and all that. Maybe they win the league and all that. Maybe they end up in Europa League. They won't, because what did I tell you a couple of weeks ago? We talked about the 2019-2020 Premier League table during the week of like 1920. Maybe week 21 as well, right? Who was number 5 in the table? And you know what? Who was in the middle of the table? This is a fluke. You understand me?
I don't know.
Do not. No. You know. Don't believe in West Ham. Don't you dare do it. Because if I remember correctly, at the seventh spot. Matter of fact, we'll start at the ninth spot. Crystal Palace was ninth at this point in the season last year. Crystal Palace, they're on the verge of relegation as well. Sheffield United, seventh. Wolves, fifth. What happened? It's
I don't.
that early season, like get back into it, get rid of all these group stage games. You move into knockout, or you get moved down to Europa League, or you're not in it at all. The big teams start to focus back on the Premier League. Get ready for that. I guarantee you, you are not going to see West Ham be number five at the end of the season.
I don't know. I could see them getting Europa League. I think it's going to be difficult now, especially that Arsenal is buckling down, and I'm sure Chelsea's going to buckle down and get back at it. But it's going to be a huge week for them next week. I think a lot of people are looking at the Arsenal and Man U game and looking at that as the best game of next week, just due to some of the history. But let's not forget that West Ham plays Liverpool next week. These are two teams that are about in the same position in the table, fighting for that Champions League spot, that Europa League spot. And I definitely don't think West Ham's going to win that one after what Liverpool did. But let's not forget that West Ham beat Leicester 3-0. They tied Spurs. They tied City. They beat a red hot Aston Villa, and they also beat Everton. So they have potential to make an upset. I think it's harsh. I think it's real harsh not to give them a shout for Europa League, but I think if we're talking about them in the Champions League, it's unrealistic.
They'll finish like 10th, maybe 9th.
We'll see. I hope you're right. As an Arsenal fan, I hope you're right. But I mean, they've been good. They've been real good.
They have been real good. That is a fact based off their position at the table and nothing else. But they have been playing really well, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. Moving on to the Premier League, back to the Premier League table. Man City sitting at the top at 41 points and a game in hand above Man United. Did you see Man United sitting at second this season?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. You go back through our group chat. I did, bro. I called out Man City. I said I think Man City has the best chance to win it out of this Premier League, and I said it back when they were struggling, back when they were in 10th place.
But what about Man United?
I think Man U at the start of the season, I said Man U is probably going to be third to Liverpool and Man City, and I think they're slightly proven me wrong, but they've been pretty solid. Dude, I think Pep with Man City, I think there's a desire. I think he wants it. Here's an interesting factoid about Man City, right? Yeah. Because they were struggling at the beginning of the season.
They were.
In the last 7 games, they have had 6 clean sheets.
Okay.
And they've had 15 goals scored and only 1 goal conceded. That goal came against the 3-1 win against Chelsea. So they're on fire. Not only are they beating their opponents, but they're demolishing
Chelsea them alone. Leave them out of this.
We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna go there. But I mean, not West Ham, but Man City are rolling right now. They're doing super well. And I mean, granted it's West Brom, but I mean they're getting good results. They're getting results against the Chelsea team that, granted it was struggling, has a lot of technical capability. If I had to put money on it, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to, I would put money on Man City finishing first place in the Premier League.
You already know how I feel about Man City, and then you already know how I feel about that fake managers they have, but we'll get into that another time. I don't believe that their results from the last 7 games are real. So here's why I say that. They've played West Brom, okay. Cheltenham, okay. Aston Villa, they did beat them, but Aston Villa's been cooling down at this point in the season.
Yep.
They played Crystal Palace, Brighton, Birmingham. They did beat Man United in the semifinal of the EFL Cup, but honestly, Man United has been they have been the best inconsistent team I've ever seen. That's not a thing, by the way.
I don't put a ton of value on the energy drink cup as well. So
me neither. That energy drink cup is fake news. Then
yeah.
they beat Chelsea. We're inconsistent as well, but we were hurting.
I think it is bad, to be completely honest.
This is a fact. I don't want to get into that. Anyway, Man City also beat Newcastle. Stop. Then they beat Arsenal, which was pretty easy, 4-1 EFL Cup. Anyway, and then they before that they beat Southampton, which has been decent this year. So look, they've had one good game in like the last 10. I'm not sold that they are legitimately there, but I do believe that when bigger teams beat up on smaller teams, they gain back that confidence.
But it depends, man. Like this season is so weird with the Premier League, right? Because if you went back 3 years, you list all these teams, those are filler teams. But like, I mean, Crystal Palace, their position's bad, but they beat Man U. I mean, West Brom tied with Chelsea. Like, these
But
teams
those
are
are two teams
causing.
that have been struggling this year.
Yeah, I mean, these
Chelsea's
are
been
teams that are
struggling. Man
causing.
United is inconsistent.
Yeah, but Man City right now over the past 5 games is one of the only teams I've seen like really being clinical.
Okay.
And I hate the oil clubs, right? I'm not saying I want this to happen. I don't know if I'd particularly want a Man U victory because all of these so-called lifelong fans are going to come out of the woodwork and club you over the head with a stick for the next 20 years if they do win.
Yeah.
But I think Man City have what it takes to get it. I think Guardiola wants it more.
Okay.
I think he wants it more than the Liverpool players, and I don't think Man U under Ole will be good enough to get the title. Champions League for
Wow.
sure, but I don't know about the title. But you said something interesting. I think that we could swivel on to Aston Villa,
Ooh,
right?
man.
This team has been off and on. They have 4 points in their last 5 games.
Hmm.
If we look at the Premier League table, let me just pull it up. If we look at the
Yeah.
Premier League table, they're sitting in 10th,
Hmm.
but they have 2 games to play, and if they win those games, they'll be in 5th place. But this week they lost 3-2 against a Burnley side
I
who
know.
usually don't score too much.
They usually play deep.
Yeah.
Everybody deep.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, man. Aston Villa. I'm really surprised about that. I have a love for them because me and my wife went to go watch one of their games when they were still in the
Nice.
championship. And I just want to say real quick, Aston Villa, you can thank me because after that game, y'all turned up and you went from almost bottom middle to literally into the playoff, and then ended up in the Premier League where you belong. Just want to say that really quick. But I want to get back to this table. Yes, Aston Villa sitting at 10th. They started hot and then they got cold. So I don't want to hit on them. I want you to look at the table right now. Tell me who is your best mid-table team?
I
'Cause
mean, does Arsenal count as an answer?
no, 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 no.
Um, that's rough, man. I would have to say, man, I don't think Leeds have what it takes to make a real push.
Yeah.
Man, I'd have to say off the top of my head, Everton, because I don't
Okay.
think Leicester City are a mid-table team. I think Everton have been excellent this year, and it bodes well for the next 5 years.
Give me your next team after Everton because I do not count Everton. If they stay at 7th, they may get a Europa League game. So give me
If I
somebody.
had to pick again, I'd probably say Aston Villa, to be honest.
Okay. Wow. Why right
Yeah.
now?
I saw the absolute spanking they handed to us at the Emirates, so that got branded into my forehead. So
Oh, okay. All right. They conditioned you. That's fair.
yeah,
Honestly, for
every time I
me,
see Jack Grealish and his power
yeah.
caps, I just get
Oh
like
man,
I feel the need to find like somewhere to hide.
he should stay there. I know everybody was talking about, him to Man United, him to Tottenham. I really like him at Aston Villa. I think they can really build around him and make a quality. Him and Tyrone Mings. I think they're just so solid. Obviously, they're both National League players. I
Mm,
think I think they should. That's quality right there. What do you think?
mhm. Dude, I think Aston Villa are a really quality side. When we go into the transfer league, we're going to talk about how some really shrewd business got them
Yes.
into the position. But beyond Jackie Grealish and Ollie Watkins, which
Okay.
we didn't initially mention, we also have players like John McGinn, Bertrand Traore, a
Priori.
really
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Ross Barkley, who is doing really well, who kind
Yeah.
of fell off, has the potential to come back. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about this, dude. For under $20 million, they were able to get Emi Martinez. At the end of the season, he's probably one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the league. So
Absolutely.
much like West Ham, we're looking at a team that literally by a VAR call got saved from relegation, and now is really making some moves. And they don't need to finish in the top 6
They
to
don't.
make
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
moves.
For what?
But I mean, a top 10 finish for a side like this that has looked utterly shambolic in the past 10 years
I agree.
would do really well for them. And they also play they have that Leeds factor. They play really exciting football.
Okay. All right. We'll get into that with the transfer market. Really quick, I just want to say I think Southampton is the best middling team, just because I think at any day they can beat anybody when they are on. Give
I
me
don't know.
your worst relegation zone team. Like the
Oh,
team
dude,
that's
it's
guarantee is gonna
it
go.
it's easy, dude.
Okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it's West Brom, man. I mean, like this team, like on a statistical level, they've let in the league's highest 48 goals. That's 12 higher than the second team that's been conceded on most. Like, honest to God, like my high school that had 50 students a year probably could have produced a side that played better than this team. Um, but
Damn.
all jokes aside, man, this team is bad. And it's honestly really sad because the Premier League as a competition has been renowned for being like such a tight competition. There's battling on all sides of the zone, but like, this is a team like West Brom that would struggle in maybe like the Spanish third division. Like they are not good. Even with the appointment of Allardyce, which is a proven relegation saver, I don't think they're gonna make it.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be able to save this, man. There's nothing you can do about that.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. You wanna transition?
Yeah. I do want to look at a couple more games before we get into it.
Yeah.
But thoughts on the Man U Sheffield game?
Uh, so I'm like a closet Man U fan, and not because I like
Ugh.
Yeah, I know how that sounds. I had to come out on something. So I grew up liking like you can only watch so much in the United States, right? But I really grew up liking Chelsea just for a lot of different reasons. But I really liked Wayne Rooney, so I always kind of like on the side. I'm like, well, I kind of want them to be okay. Like I don't want them to be bad, right? And I think it's
No.
good for the Premier League when like Man United is somewhat successful. But that's for another conversation another day when we talk about international relations with these teams. But
Yeah.
man, like that game was a fluke. Like Man United's been riding kind of a wave, and I really don't see anything in Sheffield United that says that was anything about it was legit. Like there were all kinds of calls that were off. There were so many missed chances. Bruno, Rashford, and oh my God, the Greenwood chance. Like, bro, that's your right foot. I know that's your thing. You're a right mid, right winger, whatever you want to call yourself, right
Yeah.
striker. Like that's your shot right there, and he missed it. And it didn't go that far wide, but like there were a lot of chances during that game they should have had. What do you think?
Dude, as much as I hate them, and I really honestly do, I was gonna say Sheffield had the team performance of the week, but once I looked at the stats, honestly, like it was Man U who should have put the game to bed, and
Yeah.
Sheffield got a couple lucky chances. So if I were a Man U fan right now, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be too upset to be completely honest because they put the majority of the possession on, the majority of the shots, but I mean it didn't work out, and that'll happen every once in a while for a
And to
club.
back you up, like they lost to the team at the bottom of the table. And where is the calls for Ole to be out? Remember at the beginning of the season where they had a couple of bad losses to teams that they weren't supposed to lose to, and people were
Yeah,
like, "Oh my gosh!" But look at that. Look at
dude.
that, right? They lost to the team at the
Yeah.
very bottom of the table. Nobody says anything. I think everybody believes it was a fluke.
Dude, I think Man U have, and I'll say this on record. I think if we look at an actual skill level of the players, Man U have the best squad in the Premier League. The problem is their coaching. The problem is their management.
Wait,
You
wait,
give,
wait, 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 wait. Stop, 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 stop. Bring that back. Say that one more time.
I think Man U, player for player, pound for pound, have the best players in the Premier League. But the problem is that the coaching and the tactics
Ooh.
aren't there.
Wow, Jimmy, when you cut this, edit that and put that on Twitter because what? You're out of your
Dude,
mind, Flash. This is one of those moments where I get upset with you because sometimes you just make so much sense. I'm like, yeah, you're like a me. I look in the mirror when I talk. And then you say things like that. My light just went out. I just want you to know that my light just went out. If you can't see my video, literally my light just turned out because lights out on you, Flash. You must be out of
no,
your mind. Let me tell you
no,
something. They have I'd say like the fifth best team in terms of talent.
no. Oh God,
Are you
no.
kidding me? Talent wise,
No.
they have so many
Who,
holes and they
who's
know
better?
it.
Who's better talent wise? I'm not talking about
That's not
tactics.
even a segment right now. All right, we'll get
Okay.
into that another day. But really quick, since
No,
you asked,
no. I'll stand by it.
Obviously, Man City has the most talent in the world, and we'll get into that another day about how Pep's a fake. Then
Bro,
Liverpool has more talent. They have more.
I'm dying
You
over
must be
here.
out of your mind.
Don't
You
talk.
must be out of your mind.
Don't talk to me about your James Milner playing center back ass.
My guy,
Cross
he
the ball
brings
to
all the
the goal
experience
ass.
that you would want in a defender and
No,
a midfielder.
no.
Just because he can't run
Oh,
down the sideline as fast as, Gareth Bell in 2011 doesn't mean he's not capable. Like, come on. And then, honestly, and you're not going to like this, and I can argue this, and I don't care because their sales every year shows the fact that they are. Leicester City has a better squad,
Oh my God.
talent wise.
Oh,
That's why
I'm,
everybody. That's
I
why
hate
everybody raids their squad
I
every
hate man
season.
I hate
Every
Man
off
U.
season. Every off season, everybody raids their squad, and they come
I
back with dudes that you don't even know their name. And Man City's talking about,
no
hey, I'll pay 65 million for So Young-kyu, your starting
no.
defender.
I
Nobody
hate
knew that Turkish name.
I hate Man U with a passion. They're the Draco Malfoy of the football world.
Oh my god.
But I'm not gonna listen here and tell me that. Listen here, someone tell me that the Foxes are better than Rashford, are better than Pogba at his best, better than
Pogba
Fernand.
isn't playing his best. He even said it on live TV. If he's not winning, he's not playing well.
But whose fault is that? That's Ole's. That's the
No,
coach.
no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
Hey, you know
We'll
what?
see.
We'll get into the stats another time about
Yeah, we
chances
will. We
created
will.
and what Man U and the fact that Man U has missed more chances than everybody else. But we'll get to that another
We'll
time.
see. We'll see.
That's on the talent, not Ole.
One more team.
Anyway,
We are going a little bit long on the segment, but there is one more team that we need to talk about to do our due diligence on.
okay,
Chelsea 0-0 Wolves. Thoughts?
bro. Oof. So I respect Wolves because, like, we talked about the fact that it's literally Lisbon, Portugal, and in Wolverhampton. It's a Portuguese national team. Not really, I know, but you get my point. And all they do is anyway. I really believe that Wolves are way better than their position, but I thought that that would be our game to bounce back. In the last 5 games, to include the game that they played against Chelsea, uh, they just they don't score. They haven't scored. They look sad. They look depleted.
Hey, I mean, credit to where Chelsea where credit's due. I mean, they had 78% possession, 14 shots on target. They probably should have put it away, but they didn't. You're the subject matter expert when it comes to Chelsea. So I just have a couple of follow-up questions,
Oh, I
right?
knew you were gonna do this.
First of all, this is a two-part question, but was it Lampard's time to go, and is Tuchel the right guy to replace him?
It was not Lampard's time to go. I just want to say really quick. Uh, we were on top of the table weeks ago. Flash, do you know what weeks ago means?
I know that weeks ago you were like 10 places above Arsenal, but in this week we're equal.
But like still though, but like and that's a reason why you keep Arteta, right? Like
Mm.
like I just don't understand the impatience of Abramovich. Like my guy, this is a club legend, so he has automatic respect amongst everyone, fans, staff. You should be like incoming players. People know the name. He's not even just a Chelsea legend; he's a world class legend, and the fact that he only got so many games, it really irks me because you look at the last 10 managers, they all have the same time period. And if they don't win, even when they do win, if they don't win continuously, you're gone. You're gone.
I
So I
mean,
hate that. And I'm pissed. He shouldn't have left. Tuchel shouldn't be here. I like Tuchel's. I like him for the development of young talent. So I think it was a good bring in. You saw him at Dortmund, but we won't get into that. That's
yeah.
another topic. I think it's great that he's there. Lampard should still be there.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think Lampard did good last year. Shout out Tuchel because he did play. He did manage Pulisic, so that's something to look out for the
Yeah,
Americans.
absolutely.
But overall, I think it's a bad look for Chelsea, man. And I feel like there are a lot of people who do like Chelsea because I mean they're winning the culture war right now of fandom in America. That's
Oh
a
yeah.
topic we'll hit on
Oh yeah.
in the future. Chelsea American fans or American Chelsea fans have been just coming out in spades recently.
Right.
But to me, Chelsea, one of the reasons I like Arsenal, Chelsea feels like it's a business because of things like this, man. They don't really develop their youth. They always sack the manager. There's no sense of family there. But I mean, I agree with you, man. I think Lampard at least deserves some more time depending on when he did last year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame.
Sweet. So we talked about Liverpool a little bit, so we're not going to hit back on them a little bit, but I mean, props to them. We're going to transition into our third and final segment, which is going to be a Premier League tier list.
Oof.
of transfers. And the reason we're doing that is because it's now the January transfer window. It looks like that's going to end in a couple of days with not a ton of noticeable movement. But we're going to review the summer window and what's been happening through that. We have 5 different categories you should be able to see up on screen, or 6 different categories you should see up on screen. We have S tier, which is the best tier, way above the rest. It's going to be special for a team to get up here. We have A, B, C, and D standard letter grades, and then we have return to sender, should have just saved your money. And if you do want to find some of this transfer data, Transfer Marked is a super good website. That's what we've been using. But without further ado, we're going to start with the clubs that have spent the most money and go in descending order. That first team, obviously, is going to be Chelsea. The amount of money this team has spent is insane. Bringing in the likes of Kai Havertz for 88 million US dollars, Timo for around 60, Chilwell for 55, Hakeem Ziyech for 44, and then Eduard Mendy with 26. Go ahead, Knight. I will give you the honors of putting this one in a tier list, and then I'll have to come back in and bring things back to reality if you get too egregious.
Oh man, you're crazy. Because let me tell you something. Nobody knows this better than me. It is a B, almost a C, and here's why. The money spent, as we all know, it's all about the market. Those guys, they were all wanted by different clubs, so you had to outbid to make sure they got there.
Sure.
And even though we spent, yes, 250 million, we'll leave it at that. There's 2 different ideologies here, right? So Abramovich is like, yo, I spent 250 million. I spent $250 million.
Yeah.
What results? Which probably played mostly into Lampard leaving.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
you look at yeah, right? Like $250 million.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. You expect immediate return. However, return on investment, right, does not mean you should see something within 8 months. Like, and again, I know we keep saying for other segments this pilot episode, but dude, for another segment, we will talk about everything, and we'll also actually try to bring somebody in to speak to this, but we'll talk about everything that goes into bringing a player into a club from another country and asking them to perform immediately. We brought in some, right? Like, there's so much that goes into it. We brought in a lot of young talent, like 20s, like mid to young 20s talent that we had to pay extra for because the team said, well, what about their potential? So I get it. Abramovich wants to see immediate results. I wanted to see growth throughout this season. And yes, Werner should probably have a few more goals. But honestly, I'm a big fan of the fact that they're going to spend this season getting to know each other. They're going to see each other's quirks. They're going to learn to love each other. And I think next year is where I first start to really evaluate, was that the right signings? But as of right now, absolutely. Dude, Havertz is amazing. Yes, I get it. Some people want to compare stats, whatever. The German
You traded me him, man. You traded me him in our fantasy league. That shit hurt real bad. Giving up James Madison for him.
I will take James Madison because he's.
And the fact that I set up that trade as well is the worst part about it.
Yeah, I know, and it was great. But you were desperate that week, and I needed that, so it worked out for both sides immediately. Dude, James Madison's been awesome. But that kind of speaks to like what I'm saying. Like James Madison has been in Leicester forever. Kai Havertz has been here for months, not even a full year, and people want to say he's not performing up to like what's the standard. What standard is set? Like
that's fair, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can play so many positions. He's young. He's a German national. He's always going to get experience. Give him time. And that's why I think we are a B, because like I did not expect anybody to immediately blow us to championship levels. Like that's ridiculous. These are young dudes. However, next year I will be judging like hell. Go ahead.
That's fair. I'd agree. Are we saying B tier?
B tier for me.
I'd agree with that. So moving on to the second biggest spenders in the league, City. We saw the likes of Ruben Dias come in for 75 million US dollars, Nathan Ake for 50 million, and then Ferran Torres for 25 million. So getting close to 200 million with all the transfers. They also brought in the likes of Pablo Moreno, Felipe Stekovic, Nahul Bustos, Jan Couto, and Isa Kabore. I'll take this one just because you took the last Chelsea segment. But I mean, for me, this has to be an A tier, right? The only reason it's not S tier is because they're not buying like a bona fide, like 26-year-old, like world, like class baller. But the players that they do bring in are so good and they're so young. Ruben Dias, 23 years old. Ake 25, Ferran Torres 20. Diaz has completely changed their defense. Ake will be one for the future, and Ferran Torres is great supplementary for players like Riyad Mahrez who are getting older.
Yeah.
Also, we have a list of 5 other players they're buying for about under 10 million. This is kind of unfortunate because City does have that money to flex, unlike other clubs, so they can make some investments. But on its face, Ruben Diaz alone, I think, is enough to give this an A rating.
I'm not going to argue that. I just want to plug in. I hate City. I hate the oil money. I hate the fact that they just buy whatever they want and then they don't get judged up to their money standard. But yeah, A rating easily. Players are such class.
Do you want to take it? Next one we have third highest spender is going to be Tottenham.
Yeah, so I don't really want to talk about Tottenham because what trophy have they won? Audi Cup champions. Um, like no, I don't want to talk about Tottenham. They brought in decent players. I think you can talk about the players all day, but let's be honest. The biggest thing that they signed over summer was Josie.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I give them. We won't dwell on it too much. I give him a B rating. I thought Højbjerg was a great signing for 18 million,
Yeah,
but they're kind of struggling right now, so I think B is fair.
yeah, that's fair. I am surprised that Southampton let him go, but yeah, absolutely.
Next up, we have Leeds.
Ooh,
Man, probably the most fun team to watch in the Prem if you're a neutral. We saw a ton of money come in from the championship because they did win that. And they got their prize money. We saw the likes of Rodrigo for 33 million, Rafinha for 20 million. Jack Harrison, I've been raving about this dude on a loan, so
yeah.
they're getting him only for his wage. Robin Cox, German center back, for 15 million. Dude, this is an A-League transfer. This is an A-tier transfer. To see a team come in and do what they're doing, granted they're only in 11th or 12th right now, but to see them have this stability and not play like a turtle strategy and
Yes.
play this type of fun football, dude, I give them big props. A
I
tier for.
I give them big props too. Like they're the Norwich of last year, right? But Norwich, obviously, we know where they went because they tried to attack with no real spending.
Yeah.
Leeds spent money. Rafinha's been amazing, bro.
Oh
He is
God,
so
dude.
much fun to watch. He's been awesome. And again, always big ups to like that Portuguese league out there because like, dude, they have ballers and they go places and they do things. But I want to give a quick shout out to Rodrigo. You should have stayed in
Yeah.
Valencia. You have 3 goals in like 17 appearances. He has been a huge disappointment for 33 million because yes, 33 million does not compare to the 80 that we paid for Havertz. But when you look
Sure.
at the team as Leeds, that's like an 80 million transfer for him. I'm pretty sure that was a record. That's a lot of money. And he hasn't done anything for them. Trust me, I know my fantasy team sucks right now. So big shout out to Rodrigo for disappointing. I think that takes them down for me actually a little bit. I take them down to a B because they spent 35 million pounds on a player, or excuse me, US dollars on a player who hasn't done a thing for them. So, no, they're a B for me.
Okay. Well, I'll side with you. We'll go for B tier, but
Okay.
overall, pretty good from a
Yeah,
side who's been
overall
waiting to
pretty
get
good.
back in the Premier League.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna take this next one. West Brom. So, brother, I say brother to West Brom. What were you thinking? You're in the Premier League. It is the toughest league in the world. And you got nothing for nothing. You spent nothing for nothing and got nothing. You are nothing. Uh, that is incredibly disappointing. Your season has been terrible. You fired your manager after a game where you shouldn't have. And your players have given you nothing. Keyword nothing.
Dude.
That's what we should call this podcast. Nothing, because that's what West Brom is.
Bro, return to sender. First,
Return to sender.
yeah, dude,
What's
send that
below
shit
that?
back. No, maybe they don't even got in the tier list, but yeah, horrible, man.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Aston Villa for the next one. My God, if we're talking about Leeds playing exciting football, Aston Villa has to be up there as well. I mean, I'm talking this team literally got saved by like a VAR call that went in their decision last year to stay in the Prem. And now they've gone out. They've got Ollie Watkins. They overpaid for him, but they still got him for around 30 million. Bertrand Traore is an absolute steal of a deal coming from Olympic Lyon.
Yeah.
Emi Martinez, they got him at a great deal coming out of Arsenal, under 20 million. Ross Barkley is a good loan. Matty Cash is an okay deal. And they unloaded Morgan Sanson, which, let's be honest, he probably wasn't doing too much. They got 18 million from him in a COVID situation.
Yeah.
Dude, if they win their 2 games, they'll be in the top 5 right now. I honestly can't say with a straight face that I think they'll get Europa League level competition,
Okay.
but to see where they've come and to see what they've done, considering that this team is not getting that money injection coming straight from the championship,
Right, right.
and they were able to get Grealish on a long-term contract, this is an S tier level transfer for me.
I love it. I completely agree. I love Aston. Like I said, they owe me. I think they really had a great summer. Proud of them. Super proud.
Next up is, oh man, you get to do this one.
Yeah.
Arsenal
I
for
was just
you.
I actually just pulled up your stuff. Yeah, I want to do this one. Uh,
Oh no.
so you have them in the A tier. I have them in the B/middling C tier. Let me tell you why. All right, so you spent 36 million pounds on Thomas Partey. Great signing. My guy is an awesome center defensive mid, big, powerful, understands the game really well. And being at Atletico Madrid probably was great for his style of play, but let's be honest, he was probably bored because all they do is defend. You
Yep.
spent 18 million pounds on Gabriel. Look, I like the guy. I think he's another big body who's really nimble, understands the game pretty well, but he's a Brazilian center back. And let's be honest, they usually don't always turn out to be the greatest unless you are special like Marquinhos or Thiago Silva. We'll see what comes of that. I don't think he was a great signing for that amount of money, but whatever, he's 22. Maybe he has potential. Pablo Mari, why? Okay, we'll move on. A runner, Alex. Like I'm looking at so many of these signings. Not to mention that you took Willian on. Thank you. His old ass. And then Emil Smith Rowe. I kind of like this kid. He's 20. And he came up in your academy, so you signed him. I really think that you should send him out on loan. I just wanted to say that because I just don't think he's really benefiting from playing for you. I think he should go somewhere where he's really like a conduit, like he's needed.
I,
And I think there's a lot of young French teams that could use him right now.
so what's your verdict? A B tier?
I give you a C because
Oh my god,
yeah,
no.
yeah, I just see a lot of these signings and I'm just thinking because you know what really brings you down to a C? I almost agree with you on an A and then almost a B because you did sign Odegaard and I think we'll talk about that a much later time because you just got him in this January transfer and this is really summer transfers. But William Saliba, what was your club thinking? I saw the article that talked about what happened from signing him to sending him away. You guys are idiots, absolute idiots, and you spent so
Hey,
much money to do
is my verbal lambasting over?
that. Yeah, it's over.
Um, in the sense of time, right? I'm just going to straight up disagree with you. I will argue that they're an A tier, so maybe we can say they're B tier if you're putting them on the C. Um, but I think Thomas Partey is a great signing. I think that Gabriel is an absolutely fantastic signing for the price. There are a lot of top clubs getting there. Pablo Mari's kind of suspicious, but he's 4 million. I mean,
And
bro,
old.
if we want to talk about pensioners, man, this dude Willian has to go. It's time to go, dude. I'm sick of these Chelsea secret agents coming in and destroying my
Yeah,
club. But
yeah.
dude, I give a B tier. It's hard because we're not in a high position right now. But I mean, we could reevaluate the end of the season. I give him a B tier. I'm not doing C tier. This is slander.
It is slander, but you deserve it. C tier it is. All right, so moving on. I think that's enough for these teams.
Yeah.
Because when we start looking at the others, it's kind of like big shout outs to Liverpool for signing Jota, though. I think that was great. More depth for an already really deep team.
Yeah, I think overall a lot of these are going to kind of filter into the rest of this tier list, but a couple teams I do want to highlight just because we do have a couple more minutes. Um, Looking specifically at Man U, I rate these guys as a B tier transfer. I mean, Donny Van de Beek was a great signing, but they don't use him.
Okay.
Edison Cavani is a great signing as well.
Yeah.
Tellus looks a little suspicious.
Okay.
But I think overall, Man U, for the amount of money they spent, they can save some. I thought it was overall a decent transfer.
I really like what you just said. I think Alex does look a little suspicious on the defensive side. He's smaller, but he is also a Brazilian, so he's technical, and his crosses are such money, which we kind of already knew. I think he's like almost more of a left wing back, but yeah, I do agree because you got Shaw, and Shaw's been stepping up since he's been there. So maybe that's another way you can say that his transfer was worth it with the fact that Shaw stepped up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's
and
true.
then yeah, absolutely. And then Cavani, like, bro, you can just look at his goals, and I don't care who he played for. his goals speaks measures, and he brings experience. And you can see everybody looks at him and goes, "Yeah, he knows what he's doing." And his goals already for his age in the Premier League speaks levels as well, especially after missing matches as well. So yeah, definitely agree. I think they're a B.
I got one more, just
Okay.
because the rest other than these are kind of hit and miss. But
Mhm.
this one I'm gonna go super hard on. I'm gonna give this one for the money a D tier ranking, and that's gonna be Wolverhampton Wanderers, aka
Ooh.
Portuguese B team. They
Okay.
bought this. They bought this man Fabio Silva, center forward. I know he's
Ooh.
rated high as a youth talent. He was
Yeah.
valued at $13 million. They bought him for 44 million
I
in a
know. I
panic buy.
know. They got gypped.
Nelson Semedo, they bought for $33 million after I watched this man get his absolute lights crossed out against Alfonso Davies in the
Yes.
Champions League final. I don't rate Nelson Semedo. I would play Cedric Soares over him for
Chill.
Arsenal.
Chill. 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 Chill.
Easy, bro.
Chill.
Easy, bro. A
Chill.
couple of these ones as well. They got a couple loans in. They bought Marcel for 2 million, Kayana, whoever, from Liverpool for 10 million. But if you look at this club, right? This is a club who has only recently found mid-table stability.
Okay.
They go out and they spend around 80 to 90 million dollars. And you're telling me Nelson Semedo and Fabio Silva are your two top players you get for that? I would be devastated if I were a Wolves player. I mean, this is like burning money.
I still like the Nelson Semedo signing. I think it's too early to tell for him. He should have been settled by now because, like you said,
He's
it's Portuguese B.
he's
Uh,
26. It's too
yeah,
late. He's
yeah.
not very good.
It's
That's
not
my
it's,
take.
it's not looking good, but I still believe in him. However, Fabio Silva, 44 million compared to 13. Ooh, ooh,
Yeah,
that's
dude,
bad.
that's rough. D tier for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Let me know if I'm
Agreed.
wrong, and
No, I'm
make
signing
sure
off
you
on
at
that.
me.
I won't
Um,
return. I won't return to sender because I want to keep them, but I
yeah,
want my money back.
I want my money back. I give it a D tier. But that being said, 3 segments in the box, 50 minutes done. I want to thank everyone who sat through this for listening to the first episode of Ordinary Footballers.
Oh yeah,
We
brother.
plan to do this on a weekly basis. Essentially, we're going to be reviewing the Premier League only for now, and probably the Champions League and Europa League as we get into the swing of things. But let us know what we're doing better. Let us know what we could do in the future. We're just two guys who've been looking at soccer for the most of our life. We don't have any professional credentials. We don't have anything that I guess sets us apart from any of the other normal fans. So we want to hear what you guys think. We want to hear how we can improve our show. And I'll pass it off tonight. But for myself, Flash, I do appreciate the time spent listening to this first episode.
Nope, I agree with you, Flash. I love it. I'm having so much fun. Absolutely loving this podcast. I think this is really going to grow into something. And again, we're ordinary footballers for a reason. Like you said, we're not professionals, but I think we're going to have some interesting ties when we start bringing people in the show, certain opinions, our group chats. And at the end of the day, we just love doing this. And I hope you enjoyed the banner.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's going to be it for us this week.
Yep.